Good morning, Paul. It's May. We've just had a bank holiday, and I can't believe this is the month which we celebrate the year's anniversary of People and Work's company registration, has gone by very fast. We've covered a lot of ground between the two of us, which I'm.
Oh, we certainly have. Morning, by the way, and I can't believe it. A year. And the funny thing was, I was watching one of our earliest videos the other day, and we just looked so fresh faced and fresh and innocent, and it's only a year ago. So.
My most recent achievement was finally getting out to Covent Garden Market, which
I'm so happy.
We've been trying to do all the way through lockdown, as you know, as you're definitely familiar with. But
So how was it?
Well, it was amazing. I mean, it's an amazing little corner of London. It's just across sort of Battersea Bridge at Nine Elms, Vauxhall sort of area. And we arrived, so myself and Callum and Enya, the three of us turned up with cameras and sound gear at 3:00 in the morning, and it was maybe not rocking because the volumes are definitely down because the hospitality sector is still down because lockdown at the moment, for the diary anyway, means that you can only eat and drink outside. We've got to wait another couple of weeks till hospitality inside's permitted. But there's tons and tons and tons of fruit and veg on one side of the market that's going out every day. The market starts now. I mean, vehicles turn up at 10:00 at night. It's really busy from sort of 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, and then by certainly by 9:00, the produce side of things is done, and everyone's going home.
So what time did you get there?
3 a.m. I mean, I went to bed and had like 2 hours sleep. The guys who work there all year round, or do it for a career. It's a really solid team because not across all the businesses, because they all live in this slightly sort of alien world of nighttime. And I guess if you want to go for a pint after work, there aren't many people you can go and have a drink with at 9:00 in the morning, apart from your colleagues,
So how many people did you interview, or how did the interviews go?
Yeah, the interviews went really well, actually. People were very generous with their time. Garin, who is the sort of community liaison officer who coordinates the activity across the market, had done a great job introducing us to lots of companies. So I think we interviewed 13 respondents over the course of 3 or 4 hours that we were there.
Yeah.
Across both produce market and there's a flower market next door.
Yeah.
We interviewed everyone from literally the guys sweeping up right through to the people that had owned these businesses, in some cases for generations.
Yeah.
Wow. And I mean, you could just see the passion. And in particular, I mean, a big thank one guy in particular, Tony Glasgow. He is, he's been a member of the Market Authority all his life, I think, and his dad and his dad's dad, and produce is something that they've done as a family for generations. And he gave I think it won't be out till June, but gave a really passionate response. They stepped up at the start of the first lockdown, and they realised that they normally supply restaurants and hotels, and what have you, but he realised that normal people couldn't get fresh fruit and veg. The supermarkets were being shopped till there was nothing left on the shelf. They very quickly sort of repurposed their vans and their businesses and started to deliver directly to consumers. And you could see, the pride that he took in that ability to go out and feed, hundreds, thousands of people across South London, and North London, all across London. That was something that he really felt, he'd done something good there.
Made a real contribution.
And the whole team took great pride in that, and that comes across in the film. I think I think that's going to be a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing it. And of course, so you went with Callum and Enya, didn't you?
Yeah.
So they Callum and Enya were there for the early start as well. So you know, huge thanks to all three of you for doing it. Can't wait to see the films, and you know, thanks to Callum and Enya for for just for a day trying out what it's like to be to keep Covent Garden hours.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things. So Garin, who who I've mentioned, who's on the Covent Garden Market Authority side of things, was so impressed. We've actually been invited back to they've got a sort of an incubator for experimental food businesses.
Okay. Yeah.
People starting new brands or innovative brands in the food space. So we've been asked to go back, and I think we'll be going back in about a month's time, probably early June.
Fantastic.
But it's also a big feather in the cap, I think, for Enya. I mean, Callum, we've known, Callum's always does a great job, but Enya is definitely a firm fixture now as part of the people on work team, and I hope we see a lot more of her in the weeks, months, years to come.
Definitely, and as anyone watching the channel will see, lots of the more recent interviews have been, Enya's been the one doing them, and she and I have been talking a little bit about what it's like to interview people, and I can really see her getting into the the questions and asking questions of her own, which she likes to do, and it's just really great to see that interest growing, because she, for me, what's happening there is she's exploring not just other people's relationship with work through the interviews, but her own. She's asking herself questions, or she's asking questions for herself as well. And that's what the channel's all about.
You've had a good run of things this month as well with Hertfordshire Local Enterprise Partnership.
Yeah, it's been a really good month, hasn't it, for us? So, and I have to say a huge thanks. There's a friend of mine and somebody I did some work with going back a few years, called Richard Morris. And if you're interested, Richard founded and runs a charity called The Giving Machine, which is actually, and he was one of the first people to do it. So you can give to charity without it costing you any money. So if you're interested in charitable donations or making charitable donations for free, go and check out thegivingmachine.co.uk, and you'll learn more about how you do that. It's very simple. You just sign up. You add charities of your choice. If your chosen charity is not there, you can add, you can request it to be added. So I remember when I started out, my daughter Ellie was still at school, so we set up her school as a as a beneficiary. So and once the school was set up, then other parents started doing that as well. So again, it's you can give to any good cause via the Giving Machine, and it doesn't cost you a penny. And anyway, long story, making that shorter, Richard introduced me to a chap called Steve, who is works for the Careers and Enterprise Company, and he manages the team of enterprise coordinators. So, and my apologies if I don't get the nomenclature right, but so what an enterprise coordinator does is they work with schools, and they work with a number of schools. Each enterprise coordinator has a number of schools in their areas, and he or she works with the careers lead for those schools, helping them deliver good careers education, helping them with resources. And the Careers and Enterprise Company, they kind of their expertise, they gather all that together nationally, but then also locally through people like Steve. They're delivering careers education that's really specific for the area and for the region. So in the case of Hertfordshire, you and I had a chat with Steve, and there's probably about 5 industries that they've identified that even through the lockdown and now coming out of the pandemic, they're real growth in industries and industry areas in Hertfordshire, and these companies and industries are hiring. And the Steve and the local enterprise coordinators, they want to get this you know, the fact that these industries are hiring, the fact that there's jobs there, training, careers, you know, real kind of careers with long futures in them, you know, get that, you know, so it's known by the schools, and so schools, careers, education are kind of, you know, teaching that to the students. And so where we fit in, and you know, we're very excited about this. Where we fit in is we're starting in Hertfordshire, going to be working with the enterprise coordinators to get every one of their schools to get a playlist on People on Work, to get their school playlist started. And we've got a few schools in the Broxbourne area, and also in Bishop Stortford as well, who are starting that process with us. And then we're going to get their alumni, so former students of the school, interviewed, and slowly but surely build each one of those playlists, and that will belong to the school. And you know, as we've talked about before, from the way People on Work, the way the architecture of our database works, is that's great for the school, but it's also great for the you know, so if you imagine a student from a school in Bishop Stortford is looking at their alumni playlist, and they get interested in someone they see on there doing something, then you've got all the other schools, not just in the Hertfordshire area then, but across the country, that have may have people working in that kind of role, in that kind of industry. So that's where the depth of experience starts to really work in the favor of anyone exploring work, exploring careers, and their relationship with work.
Yeah. Well, the bongo drums across the counties must beat quite loudly, because I think I've got a call later this week actually with the coordinator for Oxfordshire.
Fantastic.
So, hopefully we'll have a warm introduction and something to talk about in quite a material way, given that we've made a start with Hertfordshire.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, and then there was another piece of really good news as well, which came through because you and I, Tom, we both have an association with Henley Business School, and Dr. Nima Pasha, who we both know, who's head of careers at Henley. She's also head of D&I at Henley. She is, and for the last three or 4 years, has run the World of Work conference.
Yeah. And
we've been talking to Nima about the World of Work and People on Work. Very early conversations. We can't say anything because it's you know, I wouldn't want to say anything here that isn't public yet. But we really think, and you know, we're hoping to get Nima on the channel, you know, in the future, so she can share some of these things herself. But we really think there's a really great tie-in between People on Work, what we're doing here, and the World of Work conference, which is all about you know, what people are doing, what the future of work is going to look like, where the trends and the data are informing us, and just how we can, all of us, make better career decisions.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed.
Excellent. So looking ahead, I mean, so you've got looking ahead in May, I mean, so another visit to Covent Garden, but that's probably a little bit further in the future. But what do the next few weeks look like for you?
Yeah, well, really, I guess it's a case of, you know, following your lead on Hertfordshire and getting stuck into Oxfordshire. That's going to be important. So yeah, making sure that we can, you know, we've talked about this. Lockdown has been fantastic in the creation of People on Work.
Yeah,
in getting people used to talking, sitting in their sheds, talking to their webcam. You know, that has facilitated an awful lot of the content that we've put up on YouTube. But we now find that it's well, like every other business, lockdown's a massive pain in the backside, and school careers coordinators, sadly, many of them that I've spoken to are now full-time sort of COVID assistants.
Yeah.
You know, the schools are, you know, focusing on, you know, core academic subjects rather than and that's right. You know, the kids have got a lot of catching up to do. I get that, but it means that talking to people about careers is really difficult at the moment, and a lot of people are coming back and saying, Tom, great. We love people on work, but we've just not got the bandwidth at the moment. This is going to have to wait till September.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's frustrating.
It is, but I think, and I've had many of the same conversations as you. I think, you know, we were talking to one careers leader who was saying, you know, the year 11s from 2020, you know, what they've missed in terms of their, you know, career education, maybe even work placements in some cases, or visits, you know, all of the in-person stuff that we couldn't do throughout last year, and in the first part of this year. You know, I think, and nothing can replace that, but I think the next best thing is that if we can continue building, you know, the numbers and also the depth of experience that that we can build in all roles and all industries, then at least, you know, there's a vehicle. People on work can play a very small part in perhaps filling some of those experience gaps and helping, you know, nothing, there's no substitute for seeing things and you know, being there, but as something that, yeah, can possibly fill some of those gaps, and relate some of that experience and give people, you know, in that situation who did miss out a little bit, give them something that's going to, you know, maybe spur that next question or next step or next thing that they do want to do now the restrictions are lifting, you know, then that's something we're really committed to doing here.
Well, if they know they've only got the time or the energy or the resources or whatever it takes to look into one avenue, then, you know, the discovery element that people work is, you know, really delivers on, I think. Will hopefully say, well, you know, that's the direction I want to go in, and people, you know, relate to respondents' feedback, to interview response, and it gives them that sort of motivation to go out there, you know, and go and find out a bit more.
It's like a trail of breadcrumbs in a way, isn't it? You're you're picking something up, and it, you know, you really don't know where it's going to lead, but if it leads you to that next thing that feels you know, interesting, or answers a question for you, or makes you curious about something else, then you know, at least it gives you that next, you know, that next breadcrumb to pick up, maybe.